Morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Thursday, the third day of July 2025. I hope you're safe and healthy today. Hope your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in health, along with first responders trying their best to save lives, and those that pick up garbage, keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children that are victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People out here trying to help those that are victims of prostitution and child prostitution, victims of pornography and child pornography, victims of human trafficking and sex slavery. Double curses on all the perpetrators. Double curses on all those who profit from these things, and double curses on the perverts that create the extreme demands that cause these things to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, and military veterans homeless on the streets of the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. Well, Mike Brown's going to be the coach of New York Knicks. The thing that encouraged me in all the stuff I have read over the last 24 hours about Mike Brown that I didn't know about him before is this one word: collaboration. What I got is that not only is Mike Brown, as many people already know, a very prepared type of coach. Just like Tom Thibodeau. Thibodeau, by all accounts, players that like him and players that don't like him tell you he's the most prepared coach they've ever seen. But one thing Tom Thibodeau lacked: the ability to collaborate. And when I mean collaborate, I mean work with his assistants and his management to come to decisions. Tibbs had one way to do things, and he didn't like to be told any other way. And, for a lot of great coaches, that works. But for some, it doesn't. And, of course, with Tom Thibodeau, it is the reason you could look at a guy like Tibbs and say, okay, in all of his years of head coaching, he's only had 2 non-winning seasons. The Knicks had not won a playoff series in 20 years until he came. And in the last 5 years, they won playoff series in 3 of those years, including getting to the Eastern Conference Final, and he still gets fired. So he's a great coach that rubs people the wrong way, which me, myself, I don't mind, as long as you're winning. But apparently it did rub Leon the Don in the front office the wrong way. But Mike Brown is also extremely prepared as a coach. But he likes to bring in other voices. And what's good about that is that he knows what he wants, but he's willing to listen. And that's a big thing. So, for example, Fizdale liked to collaborate, but he didn't know what the hell he was doing, nor really what he wanted. And he kept changing. Mike Brown knows what he wants, but he'll listen to you to collaborate on what he wants and see what you can come up with. So he's more of a better communicator with people around him than Tibbs was. Okay, while both of them are prepared, Mike Brown's more collaborative. And I think that's what I'm getting from Ian Begley and others, that's what the Knicks management was looking for: somebody to collaborate. So, for example, and I'm saying if because I don't know, a lot of y'all make stupid assumptions that you shouldn't be making, and then you make conclusions based on your stupid assumptions. But so I'm gonna preface what I'm about to say with this: I don't know. But if Mikal Bridges complained about minutes with Tom Thibodeau, and Tibbs said, just play, that would not be good. If that was Mike Brown, he would have talked to him and said, what do you think? What could we do? And then you might have figured something out, right? So that's the difference. That's the difference right there. And it's a major difference, especially on the highest level of basketball, which is the NBA, and on the highest level of a team and organization, which is the finals, which is what we're talking about with the New York Knicks right now. So you need a guy that's been driving. He drove the Bentley before. He understands what it takes. He knows how to handle it, and he won't dent it up. That's why you had Taylor Jenkins and you had Mike Brown. Mike Brown was chosen for all the reasons we talked about, but he's able to communicate and collaborate. Especially, this is important when it comes to Leon Rose. A couple of times over the last 5 years, there was a disconnect between Rose and Tibbs. A couple of times. First, when they went and got Kemba Walker and the Frenchie, when they went and got Kemba Walker and Fournier, they wasn't Tibbs players, okay? But Leon Rose wanted them, so there was a lack of communication, and I can't say that was all on Tibbs, but there was definitely a lack of communication. And how you know it happened is Kemba's first year with the Knicks, he got benched before even the 40th game. And Tibbs not only stated that he was not starting, he said very plainly, he's out of the rotation. Okay? And so that was a big thing that tells you, okay, Leon and Rose and Tibbs didn't connect on that. Then with Fournier, he set a Knick record, which was later broken by DiVincenzo for three-pointers, but he couldn't play a lick of defense. And again, Tibbs took him out the starting lineup. And again, that was a bigger mistake because the Kemba Walker situation was limited in that they didn't pay a lot for Kemba. Okay, they paid like $8 million, which Kemba was making 40. So they really got him on the cheap, and if that didn't work out, they could eat that $8 million. But with Fournier, he got a $72 million deal. So that was a lot of money. Tibbs was right in what he did because Fournier wasn't playing no defense. And that's why then this all of a sudden now you come into this season and the pressure's on because the Knicks are one of the top teams in the East. And like I said, their ceiling was the ECF, and they made it. Now, as we look back now, I feel that if Tibbs would have spent more of his bench, like in other words, I'm not saying some of y'all get silly talking about Kolek, you're out of control. I'm talking about play Shamet, play Precious, play some of those veterans more minutes, play DeLon Wright more minutes, played them guys more minutes, went deep with those guys, made that a solid 9 at least man rotation. They could have beat Indiana, in my view. They could have beat Indiana, but he didn't. And that's where it came down to, because now you're talking championship talk now. This ain't no pipe dream. This is serious championship talk, so you got to get ready. And if you're not going to be collaborative at crunch time between the management, players, and the coach, that's a problem. Mike Brown will be. That's the thing, okay? And included in that is who they're going to choose as the assistant. Now, from what I've been reading, Borrega is being chosen based on offensive schemes. I'm a little concerned about that. The good thing in that regard is Borrega's under contract to New Orleans, which leaves Nori, who's more defensive oriented. So we'll see. We'll know this within the next 48 hours, which one of those guys we're going to get. I'm really hoping for Nori to help Brown out here. But that helps us with Brown. So he will be able to collaborate, listen to the management, listen to his assistant coaches, and make a plan. He's very good at sticking to a plan, okay? And he's and when he gets one now, he's going to stick with it. He's not going to just change the lineup because y'all don't like it. He's going to stick with it, and that's why I do like that about him. So that's good, what we need going into a championship thing. Now, overall, the Knicks have to be, in my view, favored to win the East because not only we know about the injuries to Halliburton in Indiana, plus losing Miles Turner. We know about the injury to Tatum. He's out for the year. Plus, they done traded Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. Then we also know about Dame Dollar being bought out or being waived, actually, and stretched on the stretch provision. But I think Milwaukee, I disagree with most of the people I'm listening to, especially CBS. I disagree with CBS because I think Milwaukee just improved their chances. They lost Brook Lopez, big loss, but they get Miles Turner. They get Gary Trent Jr. They come back with Porter Jr. They come back with him. And so if Porter Jr., and it seems to be from last year, what I noticed about him, that kid's always been extremely talented, NBA talent level, high level NBA talent, but it's off court and attitude issues always get in his way. So, but it seemed like this past season, he woke up a little bit and it helped the Bucks down the stretch. So you start the year off with Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr. You start the year off with Miles Turner, and now you give him Bobby Portis, who's now in his prime. Portis has always been a good ball player since he was drafted by Chicago, and of course remember him on New York. But now he's actually, he's an NBA champion. He's been on a championship team. He knows what it takes, and he's there. They got rid of Middleton, who was way past his prime and really just dragging. I think Milwaukee's going to be tough. I'm not thinking they could beat the Knicks. The Knicks are still better, but they ain't somebody you can sleep on. Then, of course, Detroit is coming. Now, the Beasley situation was bad, very bad. And for what I'm understanding, he's got a gambling problem. That's really, really bad. In all sports, there have been players that have gambling problems. Pete Rose, Art Schlichter in football, Pete Rose in baseball. That's a really bad scourge, man. It's hard to get over it. Usually it involves jail time. And even then, Art Schlichter went to jail and still came out and was gambling. So it's a very tough thing to overcome, and we offer prayers on behalf of Beasley, because Malik, if that's the case, he's got some serious issues to deal with, much more than basketball. So he got to really, that's something we got to deal with. And then there's guys that's lost fortunes based on gambling. A lot of players, like Jordan was a bad example in that. For some reason, for the reason is he's a billionaire. He could gamble and still keep his empire. Okay, he could gamble and keep his empire. But somebody like Latrell Sprewell gambled and lost everything. Okay, and Dolan come and rescue him and bring him back to the Knicks. But the gambling issue is a major issue. I am very disappointed, but I understand, because greed is stronger than anything else in this world right now. Greed is. I know you don't like to hear that, but that's the truth. So greed keeps gambling in sports, period. Okay, and so I feel it's detrimental, but that's beside the point. Players, if a player gets caught up in it, it's like a drain, and you're going down it, unfortunately. So that's my sermon for today. But the thing is, Detroit is weaker. Now they just got Duncan Robinson, 3 years, $48 million. Nice. They got their team. They still got Cade. They still got the young guys. They got Jalen. They got Jalen Ivory coming back. So they're going to be still tough. JB Big Steph is another tremendous defensive-related coach. They're going to be there. Detroit Pride with Orlando and Jamal Mosley, they're going to be there at the end. It's going to be them at the Knicks, okay? But there's going to be some tough teams out there. But what happened, aside from New York, Detroit, and Orlando, everybody else is making moves out of pure desperation. And that's good for the Knicks. The Knicks made two small moves in terms of Guershon, Yabusele, and Jordan Clarkson. And that's all they needed to make. They didn't need... See, there's a difference between trying to do an overhaul and tweaking. The Knicks just tweaked their team. They still got one more. I'm hoping it's Landry Shamet. But right now, as the Knicks stand, you got your starting five, plus Deuce, plus now Jordan Clarkson and Yabusele. That's right there. And then, of course, Josh Hart. They switched up to Army Night. So you got a solid 9-man rotation. And I'm going to tell you, Brown's going to play them guys. That's going to be a solid 9-man rotation right there. Only question is, can they bring a Shamet back? That's the question. Now, I don't know. We'll find out. Whoever's taking that vet minimum. Some people keep mentioning Ben Simmons. This one dude was driving me crazy with Ben Simmons. I almost got him off my channel. Look, man, Ben Simmons under the hex. Maybe he could still play, but I don't want him on my team. Every team he's went to has been cursed, man. From Philly. You look at it. Look at Brooklyn. They became nothing with him. And his back is hurt every other game. But Ian Begley did say he looked into him, and that's all a lot of people need to hear. Oh, Ian Begley said we go. And then the fantasies start flowing. But whatever. I'd rather have Shamet. We'll see. But anyway, the Knicks are in a solid position. And all the other teams, Dallas, the Lakers, on the West Coast, only really OKC is solid, and they ain't got to do nothing but stay solid. Atlanta's making moves. But see, when you make moves on the fly to try to help your team on the fly, it doesn't always work out. But Atlanta has had the best offseason in the East. To me, the guys they put together. And I'm not even talking about Kristaps Porzingis. They made some nice moves this offseason. The other teams like Detroit and Orlando, they were going to be strong anyway, and they still going to be strong. But the Knicks are in a good position, being solid, keeping continuity, and now having a coach that knows what he's doing and can collaborate. That's going to be good. Mike Brown is going to go 9 deep. I'm telling you, he probably goes 10 deep, especially if you get Shaman in there. Or, like I said, next week, we're dealing with Summer League. I'm looking for James Najee. I want to see what he got. To me, I'm more excited about him than anybody else. James Najee and Bokamp. I already know Hope Party could play. I'm not even worried about Hope Party. But I want to see what these other two guys got. Because if either of them pop, we're going to be something else, man. We really could deal with Oklahoma City. We really could. Okay? So, because you're now talking a solid 10 guys. Solid 10. Okay? And if you got backup to that. So, we'll see. I'm really excited. I want to see what Bokamp got. I want to see what Najee got. I want to see what these guys bring to the table, because we got a solid 9-man rotation right now. Right now. If they make no other moves, we got a solid 9-man rotation plus Hoop Party right now. Okay? I want to see what Bokamp bring to the table. I want to see James Najee. He might disappoint me and not be ready, but I want to see it. And next week, we're going to get a chance to see it. He's already here. He's been here for a couple of weeks working out, getting ready for the Summer League. One thing for sure I already know about him, aside from the fact that he's 7 feet tall with a 7-foot plus wingspan, he understands how important this is. He's here to work out in New York already. So he understands how important this is. So that's going to be important for us. But for now, we got our coach. We got 2 bench pieces to give us a solid 9-man rotation, a really good solid 9-man rotation. We got our regular guys, the other 7 guys coming back. We're now waiting on an assistant coach, which we should find out in the next 48 hours. We're waiting to see what they do with that $3.5 million they got left, which we'll find out. The thing is, they got $3.5 million, right? If they make a trade, I won't say any names because some of y'all get all upset, but I'm gonna tell you it ain't deuce, so we can forget that. But if they trade off a $2 million salary for a second-round draft pick, which they could do, if they trade off a $2 million salary for a second-round draft pick, right, that would put them close to $6 million. It'd be 5.8, something like that. They can offer somebody else a 2-year, $12 million deal. We'll see. Anyway, we got a squad. We're going to be there. Okay? We just need to be healthy. That's it. Oh, and all this LeBron talk, please don't talk to me about that. That's media hype BS. Forget LeBron. He's like 100 years old. Yeah, he can still ball. But I'm not trading my team. You got to trade Karl Anthony Towns to get LeBron. I'm not doing that. No. No. Okay? No. I'm not doing that. So, yeah, there's that. You got to trade Karl Anthony Towns, and you probably got to sign and trade a McCall to get LeBron. And I'm not doing that. I don't care if it's box office. I don't care about all the people daring him to come. This is where you get media clickbait based on hype and not based on sound basketball common freaking sense. And you got to be able to differentiate between the two. That's BS. No. So, forget that. I'm talking about winning this chip this year. We really in a position, y'all, where we can get this thing. Okay? That's why they talking LeBron, because LeBron can even smell it. The whole league can smell it. They know the Knicks are coming. And they are. Let's get this thing done. You'll enjoy your Thursday. So